Hey guys, Jay Wallace here with some online ranked gameplay from Madden 13. I'm running with the Baltimore Ravens going up against Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. Fun game, at least early on, and then it kind of gets lopsided as you'll see. People are still getting comfortable with this version of the game, trying to figure it out and all that. So, that gets to be pretty obvious as you watch this. I'm going to go ahead and do a review of the game similar to what I did for NCAA 13, and I think that's actually the best place to start with Madden 13 is in reference to NCAA, and to say that, for an analogy, if Madden 13 was a B or B plus paper turned in on time, that NCAA would be the C grade paper that was turned in early. Really, a lot of what's good about Madden 13 is just a better, more refined, better implemented version of things that are in NCAA. First things first, though, just from a core gameplay aspect, if you're expecting revolutionized gameplay in Madden 13, you're going to be disappointed. Okay, the core engine is obviously the same. The line play in general is the same. Players skating on the field, the lack of foot planning, etc. Those things are all there. So if you've been annoyed by those things in the past, you're going to be annoyed by them now. But that aside, this is a fun game to play. Now I'm going to say I haven't spent almost any time playing the CPU with this game. I'm probably never going to play the CPU. I've played about 6 online ranked games so far, and a handful of online unranked games. And human versus human, I think it's a fun game to play. It's very playable. It should have a fairly long shelf life in terms of how long you play it before you get tired of it. For Madden 12, I had several months where I was able to continue to play it, get fun out of it when playing human opponents, and that's I think it's even better this time around. So what are the good parts? The easiest good aspect of Madden 13 is obviously in the passing game in terms of the pass trajectories and the pass mechanics. If you've played NCAA 13, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can throw the ball into space. You can throw over the shoulder. You can lead your receivers much more appropriately. And as far as the pass mechanics go, I think they're even better implemented than NCAA, particularly with the screen passes and kind of the shovel pass or the swing passes. They work much more smoothly in Madden, I think, than in NCAA. It's really fun to throw the ball around in this game. And the one asterisk on that, which is a good thing, is that there's a difference in how it's going to work with a quarterback like Tim Tebow versus Tom Brady or Eli Manning. So even though the passing game has been improved to the extent that you can do more things throwing the football, you can't turn Tebow into Brady. Trying to put touch on the ball is much harder with Tebow or even Sanchez, for example, than using an elite quarterback, and that's the way it should be. You can definitely see a difference in terms of the abilities of different quarterbacks. I've experimented with a few so far, and I can definitely tell the difference. Related to that, in terms of the pass game, there are a couple of issues on defense that are always a concern. One is defender warping, which of course is a defender ice skating in out of nowhere to make a play on the ball that he shouldn't be able to make. And then there is route mirroring. And in Madden 13, the defender warping is definitely toned down significantly compared to Madden 12. I think most of it seems to be a product of the read and react code that they brushed onto the game engine. It's definitely toned down to the point where, at least so far, I haven't had any situations where I've been bit by an interception that was a result of a defender unrealistically, warping to the ball. So that's obviously a good thing. As far as route mirroring goes, it's still there. I mean, I think it's always going to be in this game engine, but it's minimal, or when it does show up, it's at least tolerable in terms of playing the game, as opposed to NCAA 13, where the route mirroring is just can be ridiculous. I mean, sometimes when it happens in NCAA, you see a defender running 5 or 6 yards ahead of the receiver. I mean, it's crazy. You don't see any of that stuff in Madden. It's definitely cleaned up. And you still see guys get open, on man coverage, running routes that you would expect to have, some productivity in man coverage. So all of that is a pretty good thing. I think the single best aspect of the passing game is the receiver versus defender matchup, the receiver versus defender battle. When the ball is thrown and it's in the vicinity of the offensive and defensive player, how does that resolve itself? That part of the game, I think, for Madden 13 is nicely balanced. I don't mind dishing out the compliment on that, because I think it plays much, much nicer than in Madden 12, where even if you had, the best receiver, or one of the best receivers, Hakeem Nicks, Calvin Johnson, there were certain situations where it didn't matter where the ball was, or where the defender was, or how many defenders were surrounding the receiver. The receiver was just always going to come down with the ball. It was most egregious on the deep lob passes, but it would happen in other situations as well. And one thing I find much better about this version of the game is that if the ball is thrown in a way where the defender is in a better position to defend the pass, whether it's to bat it down or to intercept it, then the defender will make that play. And you can help the defender make the play using the ball hawk mechanic, which is basically just defensive assist for the air. You can do that, and so that's a good result. Now, man coverage still has some of that route mirroring that we talked about. And there are still situations where defenders will just kind of blank out during man coverage and leave a guy open. And zone coverage is still has its issues with Madden 13. But at least overall, I think the performance of the defense increases from a pass defense standpoint because of that balance in the receiver-defender matchup that we didn't have before. It makes a difference. As far as the run game goes, I'll admit I'm not a ground and pound guy in NCAA or Madden. I mean, really, over the years, I've always been a passing guy, and so I have to probably defer to other people in the run game. What little running plays I have worked in the game seem to work just fine. The only issue that seems to be biting people is that when you are controlling the ball carrier and you're trying to hit a hole, sometimes your running back will get stuck up behind an offensive lineman, and it shouldn't be as hard as it is to get around that lineman. It really seems like you get stuck sometimes when in real life the running back would take a step one way or the other to get around the lineman and try to advance the ball. That's really the biggest thing I've noticed in terms of an issue with the run game. But overall, if you're playing smart, if you're checking out of the run, when the box gets too stacked up, when you're playing smart and calling the right plays and you have the right personnel, it seems like the run game is workable. There are, probably some things to bring up at this point in terms of just some little things to kind of close with, where EA has made a specific effort to try to clamp down on the cheese balls, the glitchers, etc., who play the game. First is really the most obvious, which is that there's what I would call an anti-gap stacking code in the game now that prevents you from taking linebackers and manually moving them up into the gap, into the gaps on the line of scrimmage. not just linebackers but defensive backs as well. Uh, it seems pretty clear the reason why EA has done this is to make it more difficult for players to set up nanos. Um, you know, most true nano blitzes, and I'm not talking about blitzes that bring pressure in a realistic fashion, but the true nano where you're directly messing with the game's AI in a way to bring someone in free and fast when ordinarily they wouldn't come in that way. Um, the defender positioning thing that EA has done is meant to protect against that. So, people who do blitz setups and they write, stack the middle linebacker over this tackle and so on. You can't do that, or at least nearly as much. As soon as you click off a linebacker that you stack in the gap, he's going to revert back to his initial position. Now you can adjust him laterally, a couple steps to the right or a few yards to the right or to the left, but you can't put him right up behind the hips of a defensive lineman or in the gap. So, what is the impact of that? Well, like I said, the positive part is I think it makes it harder for guys to pull off nanos. What about, how do you get guys into the box? Well, really all you have to do is show blitz. Just use the show blitz function if you're really concerned about stacking guys in there. If you use show blitz, most formations seem to pull the defenders in to that, those gap areas. So you can do that. You can also call a sugar play where the linebackers are essentially preset up on the line of scrimmage. So you can do that as well. And the one thing I can say about it too, and at first I was kind of annoyed by this, what EA has done here, but at the end of the day, I'm not really bothered by it because it doesn't really affect the ability to do other things as far as defending the run with your linebackers, that type of stuff. It seems to work fine, so I'm okay with that. Another aspect of the game that's been tweaked is the shake blitz. Now, I don't really use shake blitzing when I play online, but I have been victimized by it, of course, and I've gone into practice mode in Madden 13 to try it, see if I could get it to work, and I really couldn't. It seems like once you decide to make to shift the linebackers one way or the other, they have to finish that shift and then sit for about a second before you can shift them back. So it effectively kills the shake blitz, and those of you who have seen that nonsense know what I'm talking about. The guy that comes out in the 1-5-5 and shakes the linebackers back and forth to be able to have you snap the ball while they're moving. It's much tougher to pull that kind of stunt off now, and that's appreciated. Another part that I don't like as much is the lockdown defensive audibling. And what I mean by that is, it used to be that, say you broke the huddle as a defense and you see the offense come out in a particular formation and you want to audible to a different play out of your master audibles and then go to one of your formation audibles off of that. It used to be that you can do that pretty quickly, but now if you audible one of your master audibles, then your defenders have to get set in that new play before you can then call a formation audible off of that. So what it means is that, for all intents and purposes, your adjustments to play calls that you can make pre-snap is much more limited. You have to use a lot more care in picking your custom audibles because you're probably not going to have time to then branch off of that into a formation audible. Okay, guys, that pretty much wraps up the review of Madden 13. Hope you enjoyed the gameplay footage, and see you around.
Loose ball recovered. Check. Go.